Good morning, students. Our today's topic is the solution of symmetric integral equation with the help of Hilbert-Smith theorem. So we are given inhomogeneous Fredholm integral equation of second kind, which is given by Gs is equal to Fs plus lambda integral Kst Gt Dt. Here Kst is symmetric square integrable kernel. We will find the solution of this integral equation by using Hilbert-Smith theorem. Now, in order to find this, let us assume that lambda is not an eigenvalue of the given integral equation, and suppose all the eigenvalues and the eigenfunctions are known, and these eigenvalues are arranged in the order of their absolute values, means 0 greater than 0 less than lambda 1 mod, less than or equal to lambda 2 mod, less than or equal to lambda 3 mod, and so on. This is the order of the absolute values of the eigenvalues, and the system of eigenfunctions we have taken phi 1, phi 2, phi 3 and so on. Now from the integral equation 1 we can take the function f on the left side, so we get gs minus fs is equal to integral kst lambda gt dt. Now this is of the form of integral representation as we already discussed in the Hilbert-Smith theorem. In that theorem we had this kind of representation for the function f, then that can be expanded in absolutely and uniformly convergent Fourier series. Here our function, instead of the function f, that is gs minus fs. So this function can be represented in the form of a uniformly and absolutely convergent Fourier series, which is given by summation k varies from 1 to infinity ck into phi ks. Here this ck, these are the Fourier coefficients of the function g minus f. Now by definition of Fourier coefficients, these are given by the inner product of the function g minus f with the system of eigenfunctions which are phi ks here. By using the definition of inner product, this is given by integral first function into the conjugate of second function. Now let us open the product here. This will become integral gs into phi k conjugate as ds minus integral fs into phi k conjugate as ds. Now let us take the notation for this as gk and the notation for this integral as fk. So finally we have obtained gk as integral gk into phi k conjugate and fk is equal to integral f into phi k conjugate. Now also from the Hilbert-Smith theorem, the Fourier coefficients of the function f are given by fn, which is equal to hn upon lambda n, where hn are the Fourier coefficients of the function h according to that theorem. Now here by using this formula we have ck is equal to lambda into gk upon lambda k. So from here we can find the value of gk, which is given by ck into lambda k divided by lambda. Now we can substitute this value of gk in the second equation. We get the value of ck, which is given by ck into lambda k divided by lambda minus fk. Combining these two terms on the left side, we get 1 minus lambda k upon lambda into ck is equal to minus fk. From here we can obtain the value of ck, which is given by fk upon lambda k upon lambda minus 1. Taking LCM from here we get the value of ck, which is given by lambda fk upon lambda k minus lambda. Now we can substitute the value of ck in the equation A. We get gs minus fs is equal to summation k varies from 1 to infinity lambda fk divided by lambda k minus lambda into phi k. Shifting this term on right side, we get the value of solution of the given integral equation, which is g is equal to fs plus summation k varies from 1 to infinity lambda upon lambda k minus lambda. Here substituting the value of fk are the Fourier coefficients which are given by the inner product of function f with phi k. So this is integral f into phi k conjugate t into phi ks dt. Now we can take lambda out of the summation. This will become gs is equal to fs plus lambda summation k varies from 1 to infinity integral phi k star t divided by lambda k minus lambda into ft dt. Now if we compare this solution with the standard form of the solution of the Fredholm integral equation is gs is equal to fs plus lambda integral gamma st lambda ft dt, where gamma is the resolvent kernel. So here the value of resolvent kernel for the series is given by summation k varies from 1 to infinity phi k star t into phi ks divided by lambda k minus lambda. So this is the solution of the symmetric integral equation by using Hilbert-Smith theorem. Now let us see a problem based on this. So the first problem is solve the symmetric integral equation given by gs is equal to s plus 1 whole square plus integral minus 1 to 1 st plus s square t square into gt dt. Here let us suppose lambda is not an eigenvalue of this integral equation. So let us find the eigenvalues and the eigenfunctions for this integral equation. And as we already discussed in the chapter 2nd, we will use the same method here to find the eigenvalues and eigenfunctions of the given integral equation. So let us consider the corresponding homogeneous integral equation from here. So the corresponding homogeneous integral equation we have taken by considering this part. So we get the equation from there. Now this equation is phi s is equal to lambda into integral minus 1 to 1 st plus s square t square into phi t dt. So now separating the terms with s and t, the terms in s that can be taken out of the integrals because the integrations are with respect to t. So we can write phi s is equal to lambda s integral minus 1 to 1 t phi t dt, and here lambda s square into integral minus 1 to 1 t square phi t dt. Let us take this as c1 and this as c2. So we get the value of phi is equal to lambda s c1 plus lambda s square c2. Here c1 we have taken this term and c2 is this term. Now let us find the values of c1 and c2 one by one. Now c1 we have taken the integral minus 1 to 1 t phi t dt. Substituting the value of phi t from the value of phi s by replacing s by t there. So we get the value, and if we integrate between the limits minus 1 to plus 1 and simplify, we get the equation c1 into 1 minus 2 by 3 lambda is equal to 0. Similarly, you can find the value of c2 because c2 is given by the integral minus 1 to 1 t square phi t dt. Substituting the value of phi t and multiplying these two terms and integrating between the limits minus 1 to 1, we get the value 1 minus 2 by 5 lambda into c2 is equal to 0. Thus we have obtained a system of equations in c1 and c2. We can find the eigenvalues by putting the determinant of this system is equal to 0. Now the determinant of this system, that is given by 1 minus 2 by 3 lambda, 0, in the second row 0, 1 minus 2 by 5 lambda. This determinant is equal to 0. Now simplifying the product of these two terms minus these two terms equated to 0, we get the eigenvalues which are 3 by 2 and 5 by 2. Now let us find the corresponding eigenfunctions. Now we have phi s is equal to c1 lambda s plus lambda c2 into s square. Now when lambda is 3 by 2, let us take c2 is equal to 0 and c1 is arbitrary. So from the equations we have phi 1 is given by c1 into 3 by 2s. We can neglect the constant terms here and we get the eigenfunction phi 1 which is corresponding to the eigenvalue 3 by 2, and this eigenfunction is s. Now for the second eigenvalue which is 5 by 2, let us take c1 is equal to 0 and the corresponding eigenfunction will be obtained from here from this equation, that will be S square. Now let us normalize these eigenfunctions by dividing these functions by their norm. So the normalized eigenfunction corresponding to phi 1 is obtained by dividing phi 1 by its norm. Now by definition, phi 1 norm means the square root of inner product of phi 1 with itself. Now the function phi 1 is S, so by definition of inner product, this will be integral from -1 to 1, the product of first function with the conjugate of second. So we get S into S here. Simplifying this integral, we get the value of first normalized eigenfunction, which is psi 1 is equal to S under root 6 divided by 2. Now to find the second normalized function corresponding to the function phi 2. So let us divide phi 2 by its norm. Now the norm of phi 2. Now phi 2 is a function S square. So by definition of norm, this is the square root of inner product of phi 2 with itself. So now by definition of inner product, this is integral phi 2 into phi 2 conjugate. So that will be S raised to the power 4 integration between the limits -1 to 1 and its square root. So simplifying this term, we get the value of psi 2, which is given by S square into under root 10 divided by 2. Now let us find F1, F2. Now Fk is given by the integral f into psi k conjugate. Substituting the value of function f is s plus 1 whole square, and these functions we have obtained. The first normalized function is s under root 6 by 2. Multiplying these two terms and simplifying the integration, we get the value of the function f1, which is given by 2 under root 6 by 3. Now let us find the value of f2. Now f2 is given by integral fs is s plus 1 whole square into the function psi 2 conjugate, which is s square into under root 10 by 2. Now simplifying this integral, we get the value of f2, which is 8 under root 10 divided by 15. Now we can substitute all these values in the solution as we already discussed, which is given by g is equal to fs plus c1 into psi 1 plus c2 into psi 2. Now what are c1 and c2? According to the method as we already discussed, ck is given by lambda fk divided by lambda k minus lambda. So for k is equal to 1, this will become c1, which is lambda f1 upon lambda 1 minus lambda. Now substituting the values here, we get the value c1, which is given by 4 upon 3 into under root 6. Now c2 is lambda f2 upon lambda 2 minus lambda. Again substituting all these values, lambda 2, f2, lambda, here substituting all the values, we get the value c2, which is 16 under root 10 by 45. Now we have obtained all these values, so we can substitute these values in the solution. The solution is gs is equal to fs plus c1 into psi 1 plus c2 into psi 2. So we get the value of solution, which is given by 25 by 9 s square plus 6s plus 1. So this is an example to solve the symmetric integral equation by using Hilbert-Smith theorem.